Hey guys, this is the Dude 2, and I'm going to do a Go video, or perhaps a series of Go videos on the opening. It's called fuseki in Japanese. In these couple videos, I want to talk about the very basics of openings, things to keep in mind when you're a beginner and you're playing openings, and a couple tips to make your openings not that bad. So let's get to it, I guess. I recently fashioned my own board from, I found an old, like 1960s end table that was sitting out at the curb, and I sawed it off. It's made of laminate on top, but a really hard wood, and it looks old and rustic, and I wood burned all the lines, so this is the result. Also, in the future, I'm going to be showing you how I did this. I'm going to make a board from scratch, so that's coming up. I'm gathering up the materials for that now. But for this video, I'll be using my new board with the wood burning lines, and I'll be using my Yellow Mountain Import double convex Junzi stones, and the bamboo bowls that you can get from Yellow Mountain Imports at a great price. So when we talk about the opening, we talk about, usually, there are a couple different definitions, but the most commonly used and accepted definition, I believe, is the first couple moves until a big fight starts. Okay, so basically it's the staking out of your territory. Okay, and I think everybody knows, but I'll repeat it again, is that you want to, generally speaking, you want to start with your corners again, unless you're trying to do some type of special strategy or something. But let's say you're playing an even game with somebody who's stronger, right, and they know their openings well, etc. So you want to at least, have a fighting chance, at least get a decent start. Okay, so in this video, I'm going to talk about what's called the balance of power, the balance. Okay. It's a very basic beginner concept. It's one of the first things you'll learn if you got a teacher. Basically, what it is let's say you're white, okay, and you're playing an even game with somebody, or just for fun, you're playing a stronger person, and somehow you end up with white, right? It happens in club games when you guys screw around. So black will pick a corner, right? So you think, okay, well, black takes a corner, I'll take a corner, right? It's pretty standard. So black's gonna take another corner. All right, well, white's gonna take a corner. So as of right now, if you look at the board, we have a balance of power starting, right? You have black taking a corner, and you have white taking some corners. So it's pretty even right now, okay? Well, black now seals off, so he's got a sealed off corner. So now you need to think, okay, well, I have some options, I have some choices. I could seal in my corner, right? Purple can do something like this, right? Now this would kind of balance that out a little, right? It's not exactly the same, but it's similar, right? It's the right idea to keep your balance of power. The other thing you can do is you could, well, let's stick with the balance of power. Okay, so say, so now we could choose to go this way or this way, right? Or you can go a little further, something like that. Well, let's do something like this. So if you look at it, black is on one side and white is on one side. White's job in the beginning is to kind of keep the game even until black messes up, and then you could take advantage. A lot of people play that way. So right now we're looking at balance of power. So black has a nice corner, white has a nice corner, black has a small, white has a small. Okay, so let's say black extends, right? That's a very strong move. Now, just remember, this is just basics, something to keep in mind. Obviously, you probably want to stop black from doing something like that, but okay, well then white will extend. Okay, so black has this nice formation, white has this nice formation. Black has a side here, white has this corner, right? But it's black's turn. So if black were to play out here, now look at it like this. Black has an L, white has an L. White's turn. Again, there are very specific opening sequences which are going to be much more effective than what I'm doing, but I just want to give you a general idea. White is not doing, I think, as well as black. However, it's white's turn, right? And white is keeping up with black. So if you have no clue what you're doing with the opening, if you follow this type of an example, just try to kind of mirror the idea of what black's doing. Try to equal the points, right? Black has a big L, white has an L. And I don't really think white's doing so bad either. I don't know, maybe white will expand this way, right? Black could expand this way. Now you have this cone shape. Now this is all well and good when you're talking absolute basics, but sometimes it's not so easy to follow, right? This was pretty easy to follow if you're white following black. Well, let's try something a little different, right? And black will do an approach instead. Okay, so now you have a choice, right? You could answer this, or you could just play elsewhere. It's the same general idea, though. If black plays something like this and you ignore again, and then black plays something like this, then you approach, right? Now if you look at this, black has this pretty well in the bag, right? This is very good for black. And black has this corner. White still has these corners. So in a sense, the balance of power is still very similar, right? White has a corner, white has a corner, black has a corner, black has a corner. Black has a corner with more power over here, right? White and black have a split corner over here, right? So black is a little ahead. But again, black started first. So black's always going to be a little ahead until either he messes up or you steal the lead somehow, right? So, and then you could get a little more complicated where it's like, okay, well, black's going to split control over here. Okay, well then white will take a corner. And the balance of power is restored in a sense, okay? Let's try another example. Again, I'm not saying these moves are the best moves. I know some of you guys will listen to me and you'll be like, well, you shouldn't have played blah, blah, blah. I'm just trying to get for the very beginners, I'm trying to give you guys a couple tips to make it so your opening moves are not so bad, okay? So let's give one more example. So we have a corner. So let's assume we have a cross Hoshi, or a split board, right, like this. So it's a little more difficult, right, to maintain the balance of power, at least it seems. So is black going to approach? Is he going to expand? All right, well, let's say black expands this way. Okay, well, simple enough, right? White can do something like this, or he could do something like this. And then if you look at it, black has a corner and a side, white has a corner and a side. We're even again, right? If you want to make it as simple as possible, you can go like this. Corner, corner, corner side, corner side. Okay, so black's turn. So black's going to take this. Uh-oh. Well, that stops white from getting an L, but right? So white could play here now. And so now if you look at it, corner and two sides, corner and two sides, and a corner. Not so bad for white, right? So, if you're looking at the star points, white has 4 stones near the star points, black has 4 stones near the star points. The balance of power is restored. You want to always at least keep in mind the balance of power, especially if you're white, because you're going to be a little behind most of the time. let's say for an example of stealing the. Now let me give you an example of white actually catching up with black, and then we'll call it a video, and we'll go about some other fuseki, something a little more specific, next video. But let's say black goes here, and then white, and then black, and then white. And let's say black does a little extension. Did I just screw that up? Yes, I did. Let's keep it like that. Okay, so black does an extension. White plays here. So black will do a little extension here. White plays here. Maybe, I don't know, black will try to take a corner here. White plays here. Black seals this off steadily. Okay, white plays here. Black's balance of power is now very different, right? White has influence throughout most of the board. This whole half of the board, as of right now, is, you know, until black invades, is under white's control, and black has some very serious territory issues. I mean, he's got a good strong base here, but he's got nothing over here. So it's obvious that the balance of power, right, is in the hand of white. It doesn't mean that black can't use its strong group to just decimate this, but everybody I think would agree that black played very slow here, and so now that white has an advantage of the balance of power, you know, maybe white could do some types of attacks or reducing moves on black to build up some walls. I mean, it's different type of concept, but as soon as black played like a little move over here, you know, white is able to exploit the slow moves of black and move ahead. And so now black needs to be the aggressor here because, you know, because the balance of power shifts in favor of white. So, key concepts for this video. You want to, especially if your knowledge of openings are not so good, a good idea is to keep a general idea of, you know, if black's trying to play here, if black does an extension, white does an extension, right? White wants to try to kind of keep up, right? And you really can't go wrong playing like this, because even if he's playing slightly better moves, at least you're keeping up with him, you know. So it's a good introduction, I think, to fuseki theory, the balance of power. The next couple videos we're going to focus on maybe some different extensions and such, and just some different very basic ideas. These are basics, obviously, so if you know some specific fuseki, you're going to be ahead of the game. But for the people who are confused about decent opening procedures, this is a good way to start. This is how I started. On a side note, I'm now playing on KGS, so you guys are more than welcome to try to you know, buddy me, and if you see me, you know, we could play. If our ranks are far off, we could play for fun. I'm also started playing on Dragon Ghost server. The name for both is the Duda 2, so nobody took my name, so that's good. If you have any questions, comments, opinions, if you like my board, hate my board, if you're looking forward to me building a board, showing you how to build your own board, please, any questions or comments, let me know. I'm going to do a couple videos on very basic fuseki basics for beginners, and then I'm going to do a couple on fixing my board. And also, I have new video editing software, so I should be able to have my intro back on this video and future videos. So that's about it. Thank you guys for your support. Sorry about the long wait in between videos. I'll try to get them out there a little quicker. You guys have a good day. I'll see you later. All right, bye.